Good morning, PooTube, or should I say afternoon. Yeah, we were out of town last night with some friends and watched the game with them and got a little bit liquored up. So my video is a little more delayed than it usually is. It's not the morning after, but the afternoon after. But anyways, last night's game against Winnipeg was another strange one. It was Winnipeg very much felt like they had the territorial advantage for most of the game. But every time you looked up, the Leafs were out shooting them and getting their chances, and it was just this really weird contrast in the game. But despite out shooting them and having that advantage, they were down 2-0 heading into the third, so they were at a disadvantage score wise, as well as territorially. So the the third shook out. I sometimes get these feelings during Leafs games, like they could be down for a while, and I'm just like, you know what? I just feel like they're gonna win, and that was one of those nights, or other games where they're up, and I got a bad feeling. I have a feeling they're gonna blow it, and they do. I just get these weird premonitions every once in a while, and last night I had one of those feelings that despite the tone of the game up until the end of the second, and that they were down 2-0, I just had this feeling that they were gonna win. And then in the third period, they went out and they scored 3 goals, which is just, no matter how bad they play or how good they play, they have that. Their lineup gives them that ability to just score. At kind of not at will, but like they're never out of it, right? There was some bad news. Matthews got hit hard in front of the Winnipeg net in his shoulder, and he's day to day now with a shoulder injury. Not the same shoulder as before, apparently, from last year, but the other one. So that's disappointing. The good news is that it's not a concussion because it was an upper, a hit in the upper body that could have shook his head around a bit. So I'm glad it's shoulder and not head. Then yeah. So other than that, that was the only really downside of the game. Their power play didn't convert. It had 3 opportunities, so it's kind of come to ground a little bit. Their penalty kill was 1 for 2, so it wasn't great. But Freddie was really good. And in terms of the lineup, Dermott hasn't played the last couple games or more, and it's been Morensin in instead of him. I'm not sure why, because I thought Dermott was playing fairly well and was one of the more physical Leafs, which I really liked about him. But for some reason, he's out, and Morensin is in. And Morensin can be shaky, but I find with him, the more regular playing time he gets, the better. So the fact that he has been in and out a bit so far to start the season and has got some games in, and now he's got some consecutive games, I really noticed last night he really had a strong game. And then in terms of the forwards, Ennis has been in the last few games as well, and kind of taken over from Andreas Janssen, who has been the healthy scratch. So yeah, so it's the lineup has kind of stabilized, other than the Matthews injury, which they're going to have to work around for hopefully not too long. But other than that, things are kind of stabilizing, and I expect that once the season continues to roll, and they keep practicing and keep getting things in check, everything will even out, and hopefully they'll be pushing the pace more and taking over games rather than playing from behind and looking good but not great, and so but those were 2 tough games too. I mean, that's Winnipeg's one of the top teams in the West, so the fact that they put in two victories like that, and one of them will come from behind like last night, that's pretty encouraging. And another encouraging thing is that of the 3 goals last night, Kadri got his second when he scored in the first Winnipeg game. So, like I said, you get that first one, and they just seem to come, right? So that was great. And then Gardner got his first, so that's good. And then Kapanen got the winner with just under a few minutes to play, and I think that's his 6th maybe of the season. So he's continuing to roll on that top line. So yeah, so another 2 points, another interesting game. And yeah, and we'll wait to see what happens with Matthews. Hopefully it's not too long, and hopefully they can just stay injury free and get lucky and continue to roll the lineup and start working out the kinks, and we can see what these Leafs are capable of in the near future. And that is all. I will be back on Tuesday morning after the Flames game.